Hello and welcome to our inaugural 1997 Alumni Spotlight Series. It's with great pleasure that we gather today to celebrate the remarkable journeys and achievement of our alumni. At CollegeTrack, we believe in the power of shared legacies and the profound impact of paying it forward. This series is one of the ways the alumni program facilitates opportunities for intergenerational connections and legacy building. I am delighted to introduce you to CollegeTrack Oakland High School scholar Marit and CollegeTrack Oakland alumna Sophia. So sit back and enjoy the conversation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marit. I'm currently a senior at Oakland Technical High School, and I'm a senior at CollegeTrack. Today, I'm here to introduce and introduce.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sophia Fasaw. I am a CollegeTrack Oakland class of 2011 alumna. I'm also a former CollegeTrack board member. I'm very excited to be with you all today.
Well, I have a few questions for you, so let's get started. How has CollegeTrack helped you develop your educational and career pursuits?
Yeah, CollegeTrack is the reason I went to New York for school. When I was a senior in high school, my high school counselor looked me straight in the face and said, "Do not apply to Columbia, you will not get in." And I did not receive any support from my school, unfortunately. But fortunately, I had CollegeTrack and received immense amounts of support from CollegeTrack throughout the whole process. I know you just applied to colleges, so you know how hard that is. And throughout the process of me moving, even applying to law school, CollegeTrack was a support throughout that entire time. So I really credit CollegeTrack wholly for my education and my career pursuits.
And as a psychology undergrad at Columbia, how did you find your niche in law starting as a judicial intern for the New York Supreme Court?
Yeah, so going to law school was actually a career pivot. When I first started undergrad, I wanted to be a therapist, and I changed my mind, which happens a lot. Career pivots are super normal. So my psych degree was super interesting. I loved all the classes. You know, you can analyze people a little bit, but it really had nothing to do with law school. And that was really cool because I was able to learn entirely different things while I was in law school that had nothing to do with my undergraduate degree, just added to my knowledge. And then my internship was really awesome because I was able to work in a judge's chambers. I had never seen anything like that in real life before. And I got really lucky because the judge I was paired with is a Black woman and both of her court attorneys were Black women. So I was in a judge's chambers with only Black women. I was like, this is awesome. I am so glad I am here, and I really learned a lot, and all three of those women are my mentors still today. So that really helped shape my confidence going into the legal field.
Yeah. And would you suggest continuing your education until the graduate level as someone who has a Doctor of Law and is a first-gen college student like myself?
That's a really good question. I think there's so much to factor in when you think about going to grad school. Obviously, you want to utilize resources, so scholarships, grants, opportunities like SEO, things that will help you while you're applying to and finish grad school. Cost is always a factor. But I think there's immense opportunity in going to grad school. Networking and the people you meet in grad school is fantastic. And it really gives you a chance to learn something that you're passionate about in more depth. So I do think grad school is an option that can and should be considered, but it's not always the right next step for everyone. So it's something you have to weigh while you're in college, and then realizing that some actual life experience in between undergrad and grad school is probably a good idea. Get yourself out of school a little bit, work, find out your passions, and then you're able to apply to grad school for something that makes sense for you and something that you want to pursue. So you weigh all of those options as you go along.
And what advice do you have for CollegeTrack scholars who are graduating this semester for college or trade school and beyond?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Advice is hard, but I think one thing that's really important to remember as you're embarking in any new chapter is that you belong there. So whenever you're doing something new, something challenging, something that might feel scary, having that within yourself, knowing I've worked for this, I belong here, I'm supposed to be here, this is not a mistake, I am here because I earned it, I think is really important to have in the back of your head while you're embarking on a new journey, especially a journey like college when you're the first person in your family. I was the first person in my family. I moved as far away as you could possibly go. And I had a lot of questions. And that goes into my second piece of advice, which is always ask questions. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what they are doing. Everyone's kind of faking it. And that's good because you're all kind of on the same boat. But how you get ahead and how you learn the most is by asking questions. So whether that's asking questions of your peers, asking questions of your professors, finding out where the university writing center is, finding out what internship programs are at your school, asking for help, that is one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give. It's okay to not know, and it's okay to ask for help and ask questions. That's how you learn, that's how you gain the most knowledge, and that's how you move forward and figure out what the right next steps are. So know that you belong, even if you don't know what's going on. Everyone else is faking it too. And then ask. Ask when you're unsure, ask when you don't know. There is no shame in asking a question.
And I know you talked about how CollegeTrack was your support for you when it came to like applying to colleges. How has CollegeTrack continued to be a support for you within like the last 10 years, like personally or professionally?
Yeah, it's even more than 10 years because I graduated high school in 2011. But really what CollegeTrack has done for me is provided a return. There are people who are still at CollegeTrack today that were at CollegeTrack when I was a student. Shout out to Shreya. And that allows me to feel like I can always come back. I can always return and ask more questions and figure out my next steps. When I applied to law school, CollegeTrack was there for me. I had no idea what that application process was truly like. And I was able to utilize resources through CollegeTrack for help with that. In my career, CollegeTrack has helped immensely with resume help. I received a grant, a graduate school grant. I've gotten interview prep tips and all of these things from CollegeTrack, from people at CollegeTrack, and that has never gone away. From when I was in high school to now, I've been out of school for a very long time. CollegeTrack has still been a support for me this entire time. And what's really cool about that is the relationships change as your needs change and as your life changes. So being a student is a little different than starting your career, is a little different than being a board member, is a little different than just being a person. So CollegeTrack has really met me through all of those phases in my life and supported me through all of those phases in my life. When I got laid off, which I got laid off a couple of years ago, some of the first people I texted were through CollegeTrack to help me figure out what my next steps are. So it's not just about the celebrations and the happy, amazing things. It's also about those challenges and being able to reach out for support throughout all of those phases for the past a little over 10 years.
So it seems like CollegeTrack has kind of been like a lifelong support for you, which is wonderful. And how have you used your education in law to support your community or make change in your community?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I feel like my law degree has helped in specific ways and then some more general ways. When you're in law school, you really learn how to think a little bit differently. You learn what they call legalese, which is a fancy word for legal jargon and contracts and being able to read and understand those kinds of things that are, dare I say, purposefully confusing and sometimes very general and don't really make sense when you just read them at face value. I think having that skill set has been really helpful in my personal life. Just being able to provide people with answers to questions, not legal advice, but just answers to some questions when they're unsure about things, being able to provide definitions to words, to provide resources, being able to research things and feel confident about that research and using that as a catalyst for people who need help, I think has been super amazing to be able to provide in my personal life. I've also done some legal immigration work that was really fulfilling, and appeared in like federal immigration court and was able to work with my clients. And that was really awesome, and something that felt like there was a substantive change there. So just utilizing those things personally and professionally, I think has been really something that I've been able to do with my legal career. But like I mentioned earlier, those career pivots are a real thing. So now my career has like nothing to do with any of that. And that's okay, because those career pivots are normal and natural. And there's always a time and a place to find your passions and bind your career choice with your passions and figure out the next steps there. So I think I'm at a phase right now in my life and my career where I'm able to take a step back, really think about what I'm passionate about, and how can I use the skill sets that I have to bind those two things and create change in my community. I think being here, like still participating in CollegeTrack, has been amazing since I moved back to Oakland. Being able to see scholars like yourself and see the changes that CollegeTrack has made, the growth that CollegeTrack has had, I do feel like there has been, I've had a little bit of participation in that, and that has been really awesome too, to see how this program is changing, how we're still helping scholars throughout the nation, how we are still providing more than what I even received from CollegeTrack, because the program is so much larger and different. So seeing that and being part of that really feels impactful as well. And it's one of my favorite things. And I always say yes when CollegeTrack asks me to do something, because I believe so much in what CollegeTrack does, and really credit CollegeTrack with a lot of my quote unquote success. I think CollegeTrack has backed me through all of that, and that feels really impactful for specifically my community in Oakland, but also larger communities as well. So now I get to ask you a couple of questions. I'm so excited to learn more about you. So my first question, talking about, I just mentioned Oakland, we're both from Oakland. So how do you think being from Oakland and being in CollegeTrack has helped to shape what you want to pursue in college?
Well, being born and raised in Oakland, I feel like people from Oakland kind of have this unique advantage where, since we're really a diverse community, we're able to like learn from different cultures and learn how to work with different people from different backgrounds that might not be similar to ours. So one of my goals is to be an OBGYN and health advocate after learning about like health disparities in my communities and others. And I feel like being from Oakland and like the support of CollegeTrack, I'll be able to like bring this unique perspective into medicine, where no matter where I am or who I'm working with, I'll always be able to like find a way to collaborate and connect and make change.
Absolutely. That is so true. And it's such a skill to be able to do that and to be comfortable in different spaces. And I think you're right. Being from Oakland gives us a little head start for sure. So you mentioned you want to be an OBGYN, so you have a lot of school ahead of you. But thinking about your undergrad, I know you don't know where you're going yet, but what makes you most excited about going to college in the fall?
Just like the variety of opportunities I'll be able to have. So whether it's like focusing more on science and working with professors who are already like experts in their field, working research on them, being able to participate more in like hospital work. So like either whether it's volunteering or internships. So just kind of like laying that groundwork for like my career. Yeah.
And having a little fun too.
Yeah,
I hope.
of course.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure we're excited about some fun as well. Okay. And then what is one thing you would tell your 9th grade self now that you're about to graduate high school?
During 9th grade, I was on Zoom because of the pandemic. So that was like a lot of uncertainty and stress because we didn't know what school was going to look like, when we were going back. So I feel like I've kind of taught myself to like be in the moment, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. So you can only focus on now, and focusing on now is what's going to help you be prepared as you can be for the future. Yeah.
Wow, that is a good answer. I did not even factor in Zoom, which is such a good point.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So focusing on the now and really thinking about what your next steps are, but being really present in the moment.
Mhm.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So I think now we have some questions from the audience, some chats. So let's start with the first audience question.
From Andrea. Hi, Andrea. How has it been coming back to CollegeTrack in a leadership position as an alumni?
Ooh, I love that question. Part of the advice that I gave, or that I stated earlier, of knowing that you belong and knowing that you've worked to be in a room or in a space and you've earned it, it's not a mistake, that's advice to me too. Because coming back to CollegeTrack in a leadership position as an alumna was scary. I felt like it was one big mistake. They were going to pull the rug from under me, that I was not qualified. I had no idea what I was doing. This was my first time on a board, my first time reading financial documents that are laid out this way, my first time brainstorming with the incredible board members about next steps, all of these things over Zoom because of COVID. So I felt like I was on a little island and I did not know what was going on. And I really had to remind myself that I am here for a reason, that I was asked to be here and voted onto the board for a reason, and that my perspective on the board was really important. Being from Oakland, being a CollegeTrack alum, going through the entire program, there are only so many people that have that experience and that perspective, and bringing that to the board was really important. And that's how I found my voice and found my confidence. I received immense support from other board members. Once we started meeting in person, it felt much better. And I was really able to gain knowledge, gain a new skill set as a board member, have incredible conversations, learn, ask questions, and by the end of my tenure on the board, I felt much more comfortable in that leadership position, and being in that collaborative role. So it was awesome.
And the part about like knowing that you belong, especially in law and health, it's not that diverse. So it's very important to know like they want you there. So you gotta just do the best you can and you'll graduate.
Yes, exactly. You will graduate. You will make it. Ooh, okay. Could each of you share one of your favorite moments you experienced at CollegeTrack? I'll go first. Okay. My senior year of high school, I had a phone interview with Columbia. So it's before I got in, or before I knew if I got in or not. And I prepped for it at CollegeTrack. I left and got in a car accident. Right after I left, was not my fault. Everyone was okay. It was a small car accident. It was time for my interview with Columbia. So I was on the side of the freeway. I told the highway patrol officer, I'm so sorry. I have an interview right now. We have to wait. Yeah. I sat in the back seat of my car, or the car I was driving, did my phone interview with Columbia, did not mention the car accident at all, had my binder prepped, had my notes prepped, finished the interview, got out, gave my statement to the highway patrol officer, called the site director at the time and was like, you will not believe what just happened. Called Shreya, who was my college advisor at the time, was like, you will not believe what just happened. And I think that story, like in the moment, it was very stressful and kind of scary, but it was a good reminder, and looking back is kind of funny, but it was a good reminder that I have a say. I'm able to do what I planned for. I was prepared, so even something as big as a car accident didn't entirely throw me off. And that story is just ingrained in my brain because the timing was like, you can't make it up. The timing was insane. So that is one of my favorite CollegeTrack memories. What's yours?
I've ever had a bad experience.
Good.
So I would say one of my favorites is when we're doing college applications and all of us were like in the college track, our advisory session kind of stressed, but we're still like being very supportive of each other. And like that kind of sense of community wanted to make me like keep on going and like apply to the next school. So I feel like just, I guess, my cohort.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Knowing you're not doing it alone and
Yeah.
everyone's in it together, for sure. Fantastic. Okay. Thank you so much. This was awesome. I really enjoyed learning more about you, and I'm so excited to see where you end up in the fall.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How wonderful was that whole conversation? I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Marit and Sophia for reminding us that our journeys are powerful and our voices are just as powerful. I also want to thank everyone who was able to join us today. The 1997 Alumni Spotlight Series is a monthly initiative that will continue to stream live via Facebook and our YouTube page. So stay tuned for more information about upcoming spotlights. And until next time, take care and stay connected.